We're almost back. I guess we're almost back.
We should be. We're on Facebook. We're back on Facebook. YouTube's still kicking up. But let's die. So, all right.
All
We're
right. So
talking
yeah,
about
sorry
the
about that.
demo.
There was some stream. Something happened. Alien beam struck the house. Something like that. Yeah, we were talking about the demo. We got a little cut off. Whatever. But I guess that fast forwards to. I mean, really. I think we just play this tune as it stands now. We can certainly go through any of it, and I don't know if there's anyone in the chat with any. I guess there's probably
Everyone's joining back
right,
in.
right. I suppose we lost people when we had to restart, but maybe we'll wait just one more minute for people to get
Well, you guys are talking
back
about
in here.
The gratitude stuff.
Well, I will share that I should have said this before, but I forgot you talked about Prince. But here's a little Prince sitting in with us.
Nice. There you go. Little Minneapolis represent, right? It's snowing.
Yeah.
It's snowing outside. It's December in Minnesota. Just classic weirdness, whatever. But no one's owning up to it. It is what it is. Here's a good story for you from the First Avenue thing the other night.
Oh, nice.
A couple good stories, and I know that there's always a couple of key Soul Asylum fans who watch these streams, so they'll like this too. But we went over to the 7th Street entry. First Avenue's been closed for quite a while. Curtis A., who's a local legend here, did a John Lennon tribute a while back. That was a live stream. There's been a couple things, but the venue's been shut down because of COVID for quite a while. So the limited staff that is there, and Conrad, who's this classic guy who's been the building kind of go-to stage manager, everything guy, forever's been in there just cleaning house. And the place has never looked better. And we go over to the 7th Street entry, which is the small kind of punk rock venue on the side of the main room of First Avenue. It's the tiny club. You play the entry until you get to the point where you get to go play the main room. And the entry, they cleaned the thing top to bottom. They ripped out the old stage. They built a brand new stage, painted it, put a new floor, top on the stage. They've done all this stuff. The entry's never been so clean. So we go over there, and Dave and Ryan and myself did a little Q&A thing from over there, and then Dave and Ryan played a couple songs, and Conrad's like, "Oh, you'll be glad to know that you guys are the first people to play on the brand new stage at the 7th Street entry. The last stage has been in here since whatever, it's 1980 or whatever, So Soul Asylum christened the new stage, and Dave, Perner being in classic forms, like, "Oh, brand new stage, and we're the first band. That is awesome." And just poured just a little bit out of his cup onto the stage, just to be the first one to break in the new stage, which was classic. But the reason I tell you this is that the other thing is when we went in there, on the stage in there is a tiny, maybe 4-foot tall purple Christmas tree. And
nice.
Nobody from the venue will admit to bringing it there. Everyone claims it was just there one day. So on the stage, on the brand new stage at First Avenue, just a little tiny purple Christmas tree. So just a little more First Avenue folklore. But Conrad's like, literally, man, I've asked everyone, no Ouija board goofiness, like, where'd that tree come from? And everyone's like, dude, I don't know. I didn't bring a tree in here, So no one knows where this perfect little purple Christmas tree came from, but
that is the best.
Yeah. So we talked about the demo. We talked about our history. We talked about the fact that we made a record together over the course of the past several months, almost all year, from spring till really about a month ago, or however long it's been now since we've been done. Not even sure. And we've been chatting for just about an hour. So I think we went through the voice memo and a couple of demos. I think we just play the track. And if, we can dissect anything me and you want to dissect, or if there's anything you want to hear or talk about, if as people are joining the new stream, we'll see if there's any questions or whatever, and we'll just kind of, I think we should check out where we got to, and then we can, focus in or solo things up after that if we want, but I think we should just run it down, right? Anything you want to say about it?
Yeah, let's sit with this track. This was one of my favorite parts of working on this record with you, was when we thought we might be done and we would just sit there on the phone and with this magic software so I could hear it well. And you would just play the track. And it was just such a nice feeling to be listening to this thing at the same time that we had worked so hard on, and just getting to sit back and kind of appreciate it. So this is extra that. And I do want to shout out, there was a really touching thing you told me about your synths, because you have these beautiful synth pads on the record, and I didn't really see that coming when I started doing a record with you. I thought I would be the guy bringing the synths.
I'm not a keyboard player, right? Much like yourself,
right? But then you told me like that, that it was the thing that your pops did, and it really got to me. And so the way when this song starts and the beautiful kind of sea of synth that you created to begin it. Oh yeah. I don't know. I just think of your pop, so I just love that. So I just want to shout him out as we start this song.
Awesome. No, yeah, thanks. Yeah, I was telling Jonah. So I am certainly not much of a piano player at all. I wish I would have taken lessons as a kid, or not been too cool for it. I was playing guitar and other stuff, and I don't know, the piano, for whatever reason, I just wasn't into it. Now it just kills me, because it's like, it seems like the most important thing that you could know as a musician.
Yeah.
Fuck, kind of a mistake there as a lifer here, but I plunked my way around a little bit, and I grew up. My dad was in a band all through the 80s and early 90s. They always had a keyboard player, and they were somewhere between the Heartbreakers and Elvis Costello and the Attractions, and had a Midwestern kind of heartland rock, but kind of new wavy through the 80s. And Butch Vig, as a lot of people that watch this know, played in that band and produced those records. So they kind of grew with him. But anytime I think of keyboard parts, I always think of their band, because they had a keyboard player. The keyboard was in the basement. The little bit of playing I ever did was on his stuff. I would go down there when band practice was over, and he had a Roland Juno, and I would turn all his shit on and probably move all the faders and stuff, and he'd probably come back the next Wednesday and be like, what the fucking nothing is working, you know what I mean? Like, totally probably ruined his day. And that's the little bit of keys I know how to play, and it reminds me of, every time I do a little overdub, because my playing is so rudimentary, the things I can do just sound automatically like his band. And then to take it a step further, I believe it's this song. I'll have to look and we'll find it. I did a little guitar part in the end of this song that literally, it's like a little just high lead guitar in the end outro. You probably don't even really hear in the grand scheme of things, because there's so many vocals. But the melody I'm playing is just straight pulled out of kind of like what was their first single, their first song on their first big record in 1981 or whatever. Like, I'm always sneaking that shit subliminally like back into those records, just because like I know those records better than any other records I know,
Right.
So it's weird. Yeah. I sneak that stuff in all the time, and I think I did on this one. I'm pretty sure. We'll find it.
Well, yeah, I want to hear that if it's on this track. You definitely had a lot of great guitar layers in there that I've heard, so I'm curious about that. But yeah, let's roll the track, man. Let's just dig this tune that we did.
Right. I'll do the quick once more. So, David Jarnstrom from Gratitude, and my longtime friend and our longtime bandmate and friend, played drums. Bob Lindsay played bass. Bob was in San Francisco, did the tracks on his own. Dave rather came over here, played drums at the house. I played a whole pile of guitars. I'm scrolling through the screen right now, Jonah. You don't. I don't know what you see, but
I've got the Facebook on my little iPad, so I'm checking out the chat and checking it out.
Right. So yeah, I mean, and we'll go back through this, but yeah. So we got the drums. I did a bunch of percussion, tambos, shakers, claps, all kinds of stuff. Or the original tambo loop you sent stayed in here. Here's Dave's whole drum set. I was just going to
ask if anything from the demo survived.
Oh, yeah. There's like an 808. There's an explosion. We'll go into that stuff. Those are all John Fields isms.
Yep.
There's Bob's bass track.
Call those things events.
Events.
Or some shit?
Yeah, at that point he was calling them events. I still have in my Pro Tools, I have a folder that's just called events. That's all just sonic booms and thunders and car crashes and shit. We got a Bob bass take. Looks like there's a JT bass fader, because I put one part in at the end. Like, we ended up cutting up some chords and rearranging some stuff that Bob never played, and I couldn't fly it. So I played a little. There's like a little hybrid where I played, and then I put him back in at the end. And blah blah blah. There's also
Yeah, that's from us fucking with the bridge. Yeah.
yeah, right, and changing chords back around and changing our mind and not necessarily wanting to ask Bob to do it again. So no big whoop. And then there is a pair of distorted basses that I put in just the outro. That's kind of spread off to the sides as little extras. We kind of check those out. Here's 3 guitars that are probably all to be really one sound of mine. Lots of guitars. All this green stuff is guitars. We'll just go back through those later. But guitars. I don't not put a lot of guitars on here. Keyboard strings by me. Looks like some keyboard strings by you. I believe that this pad came from you. Everyday Angel synths. That might have been something that I committed, but that came from you, I'm assuming. There's a piano 1, 2, and 3. There's all kinds of different piano bits that stayed and went, and I kept them in there and just left them all on their different faders. So I think one of them is your original one, and then there's a couple different Simon things that stayed. And
yeah, because Simon sent multiple takes, and I bet you just kind of grabbed little bits that worked from each of them and stuff.
Yep, exactly. And then there's a couple different lead vocals. It's funny, there's one up here. The very first one is called Jonah Scratch, because probably re-sang that first line over the course of however long several times and ended up going back
so many times.
First one, yep. So he went back on, and then the rest of the lead vocals here. Looks like a double, some backgrounds, just a pile of more backgrounds, and then some effects returns of mine or whatever. But that's the quick rundown of all the tracks in this rock and roll gem. And now I think we'll play it.
I will say though, on that vocal, the reason we went back to that first one, honestly, a lot of it is because when I sent you the demo, I remember, I probably still have the text where you just, all you wrote was because of something there, which I took to mean that you really liked that little melodic thing. And I just could never get it to where I had the first pass I sent you. And but it was all because you had singled that out as you thought that was kind of a cool moment. And yep. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Yeah, right. And then, like I was saying, like lyrics got flipped around. The second verse became the first verse for a while. And that was a move that I'm not sure why. And then I got all upset about that and was like, dude, what are you doing? It's not as good. And you're like, I don't know. I think it's better. And then Norman was like, nope, this way, or whatever, however it went, but got flipped back around.
So wait, second verse was first, and I'll shout out my buddy Matt, because he was the one who wanted second verse to be first. And that's when I sent you the kitchen sink weirdo demo with like 8 million changes, and you basically were like, no, we're on the right track. Shut up.
Yeah, because I remember my first demo went back to you, and then you were like, cool, tempo, way up, all these new chord changes, like totally like punked it up, and I was just like, holy, whoa, I don't know, dude, like, and then we definitely kind of crept our way back to like almost where we were with a couple of additions, and we definitely changed the bridge and the energy of the, like some of the outro and all that stuff, but yeah, there was definitely a moment of like, what if it went just like up, and it was like,
yeah, I didn't even send you that one because I was like, nah. It's just
Chaparro's head will just explode.
There's actually bits of the track that I might end up recycling for another song. I think there's another song in there maybe, but it wasn't this song.
Sure. Yeah, right.
And and then Norman asked for a vocal change right at the top, which I tried to do, but you again were like, no, the old way was better. And so Norman ruled a couple of songs on this record.
Absolutely.
And I suppose I had my say in my ways. But this song really, the vision that you sent back is pretty much to me the feel that ended up on the record. As far as I was concerned.
Yeah, pretty close. Yep.
Yeah.
Let's hear it.
So let's rock it.
Let us rock it. So yeah, here it is. And this is obviously unmastered. This is just right off of Pro Tools. This is what we sent to mastering. So here it is. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to talk about how awesome this was. Check it out.
If you got lost and wandered way too far from home, or if you ran away because of something there, I'm sending this out to ya. If you're lonely or you're scared or worried that you're going way too.
Oh, Pro Tools.
I love it.
Talk it again.
If you got lost and wandered way too far from home, or if you ran away because of something there, I'm sending this out to ya. If you're lonely or you're scared or worried that you're going way too fast or to nowhere, no matter who you are what you did or didn't do, know that you are loved. No, it's not too late. You might get tired, stay inspired, and go up in an ocean of stars, back to the magic we are. Angels, we're everyday angels. I am yours and you are mine. Always falling, always flying, always angels all the time. See, Molly could have been like Holly, but from Texas, not Miami. It stopped in San Francisco, atop the Golden Gate. I wish someone had been there to tell him it's okay to be scared, to hold their perfect hand and say it's not too late, that you might get tired, so stay inspired and go up in an ocean of stars, yeah, back to the magic we are. 'Cause we are angels, we're everyday angels. I am yours and you are mine. We're always falling, always flying, always angels all the time. I'm yours, you are mine. We're everyday angels. All the night, everyday angels. We are angels, we are angels. I am yours and you are mine. Always falling, always flying, always angels all the time.
Love it.
And there you go.
That's a jam.
Sorry, Pro Tools quit at one point, I guess, there. I ran upstairs for a quick second. Pro Tools has been killing me lately, man. Update. All of a sudden, it's being weird.
It's been funky since.
I have to say, as we got near the end of the record, I got so terrified that
I know.
something was going to happen.
I know, me
Thinking it
too.
was all, I was scared Pro Tools was going to eat our world.
I
What
know.
is Jonah, what do you use? Like,
work
what
in
is
Logic,
what's
right?
what's your like? Can you just, because I'm a super nerd, like, can you just quick 30-second view of like what you use at home to do your stuff?
I love that. I'll do a literal
Even
view.
better.
Let's see
Even
here.
better.
Right.
Let's take it on the road.
Right, I
here.
forget this is a recording show where it's not me and Jonah just hanging out. But although it is. There we go.
Let's see what we got.
Looks familiar.
So yeah, we got our little SM7. That's my main vocal mic. Has been since Sardi told me to use that on a FAR record called Water and Solutions, and I've been in love with it ever since.
Yep.
I got a little 414. These are my two microphones, basically, an SM7 and a 414. I go. Wait, hold on. How the fuck do I do this? I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna hope you can see this because I can't see what's happening. That's a little Apollo Twin.
Yep.
That is my central interface, and then goes into a little MacBook, and I run Logic. So that's basically the deal.
Was that the boombox that you were listening to Led Zeppelin on when you got laid in high school?
What?
I said, is that the boombox you were listening to Zeppelin in when you got laid in high school? That mini boombox.
It was a side 3 of Songerman Sam on vinyl. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I knew it was Zeppelin. Vinyl. All right.
And I love that you know that and remember that rules. That's how much we shared during the making of this record.
We spent a lot of miles together, man. Yeah, a lot of windshield time.
A lot of hours in the van, a lot of miles in the van. Yeah, no, this boombox is one that I found on the street. I have found that, especially with electronics, I'm sort of their last stop in the world, and I just couldn't let it die, and so I brought it home with me, and I use it once in a while to play back CDs and tapes and stuff, and get all weird and lo-fi.
I love it, man. I love it. I got I have a little top area in my garage where some of that Random Gratitude merchandise is for the super nerds out there.
Oh, that's right, man. Yeah.
Get it
oh, and wait, hold on. Speaking about Prince again, I just want to show you that this is a holiday present that my sweetie Kim gave me, and it's just a sheet of paper from Paisley Park Records, as you can see, and that's like an actual sheet of the stationery from back in the day, and I left it blank to suggest like all of the possibility of ideas and to take inspiration from Prince.
Just blowing Joe's mind back here. He's just back here taking the seminar. He's just like, see what I'm saying, man? That's what I'm talking about.
I'm gonna send Jonah an MK4 microphone. So he can represent.
Joe works for Sennheiser now. Hey, man, feel free to hook us all up, dude. Let's go.
I'm working on it. I'm
working
ready.
On it.
Yes, please.
On a real note, it's super cool to see that because, I feel like a lot of singer-songwriter dudes are on the Logic Apollo, MacBook kind of trio of things, and that's a go. And honestly, in an SM7 or something like that, a utility mic, and it's that's a rig a lot of people use.
That's probably the most common rigs for probably working musicians right now, right?
Yeah. I mean, we'll dig into it at one point, but I'm in a fixed setup, but it's pretty similar to what I used to. So many people use that, but the Logic thing is a huge go-to too, man. How'd you guys? What'd you do for that? Did you export Logic files? You send stems? What'd you guys?
Jonah would send me waves, and I would just do whatever I want to them. Basically, everything ended up in Pro Tools right away.
Goal, I just asked Jer what's the simplest, best signal I could do. So I ended up doing the SM7 through the Apollo thing, through their 76 emulator, just to kind of get a little bit of compression on it.
Yep.
And keep it as sort of dry and clean as possible, of course, and keep the signal as good as we tried to pretend what I would be kind of tracking my vocals through at the studio, and then give it to Jer in its most sort of basic state so he could then do it right.
Right.
The Fairchild plug, the UA Fairchild plug. Sick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, way more color than kind of what you guys are talking about, but it's
right. We just kept it simple. Again, the Jim Scott thing would be Neve pre, probably no EQ, 1176, just tapping a little bit for control, nothing major, and then just figuring out on my end. But yeah, I mean, for those who are listening, the song we just heard essentially was recorded in the area that Jonah just showed you at his place, and then down here in my basement, and that's it on this one. I mean, other than some piano tracks, but I'm going to assume that those are all virtual instruments and not actually recorded pianos.
Nope.
I could be.
Nope. That's
right.
I mean, Simon has an amazing, amazing virtual setup.
Sure. Yeah, I'm not hating. I'm just saying, right. That was another guy at home with probably a very simple system and a MIDI controller.
No, yeah. I just
right.
didn't want to. I didn't want to undersell because,
No,
like,
of course,
people are
right.
like, oh wow, that sounds that good. Like he spent a lot of money to get it to sound that good.
Yeah, right. No, of course, right.
Yeah. You and Simon are definitely the hot. I'm the lo-fi of the bunch, but that's why I just decided I'm going to get myself an SM7. I'm going to spring for that. I'm going to spring for a good interface. And I just know my limitations and that I'm never the guy who's going to make that sound ultimately as good as it could. But I wanted to get to a point where I could send tracks and stems to people like you so that you could work with them well. That was my whole goal.
Right. That's
really.
Good even keel. Here's a good quality. Nothing's overcooked. No problems. Just there you go. And that's how I like to get them. Like, when people are making records and trying to do their thing, especially if they're getting their own guitar sounds and instrument sounds, like I actually do prefer that people commit. I don't want a DI and 5 microphones and all these options. Like, get the sound you wanted as close as you can, and I'll take it from there for better or for worse. But yeah, with like a vocal, especially in the virtual world, like just light everything, nothing heavy-handed. Just get the voice through a nice mic into Pro Tools clean, and then a guy like me or whoever mixes it can do whatever he wants after that, but it's hard to undo things,
Yeah.
And yeah, for those who don't know, the SM7 was, it's a classic broadcast microphone, but really made famous because Michael Jackson started using it at some point in the 80s. And he had access to literally everything and would do shootouts with literally everything from this thing, which is $375 on up to the U47s and the Elam 251s and the $15,000 microphones. And sometimes this microphone won. So it became hey, if it's good enough for Michael, it's good enough for me. But on the flip side of that coin, Michael could have sang into a tin can with a string on it, and it would have sounded incredible. So, but these are awesome for the money, right? And they sound great on every voice, pretty much. They do a nice thing. I love this mic
because it can really take a hit. I sing real loud sometimes,
right?
And even the fancy mics, in fact, especially the fancy mics, so I'd kind of blow those out a little bit.
Right, and this is a dynamic mic versus all the big fancies are condenser or tube. So this is made to you can put this right on a snare drum or right inside a kick drum, no problem. Doesn't mind it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, these things are rugged for sure.
Yeah.
And it sounds awesome on your voice. I mean, your voice sounded awesome when we were at Cello and you were singing into vintage C12s as well. Nothing wrong with that. But yeah, an SM7 at home, people can make great albums now with a few $1,000s or less worth of equipment. Really, it's pretty incredible, man.
Important lesson in there for the people at home and about really trying to deliver clean tracks and maybe spend more time trying to determine what the sound and the whole vibe is and committing that and that kind of the whole process and those sorts of things is it's a good thing to remember.
As a lifelong home recording nerd, I mean, the 4-track was my first love in music. While all my friends were getting good at playing guitar, playing their instrument, my first real instrument was the 4-track. So I love home recording. I've had every lo-fi setup that you could ever imagine, and I've loved every second of it. And so I love getting lost in a home demo if it's a home demo, but I've definitely learned over the years that it's better if I focus on the performances, and if it ends up being, a lo-fi home freak out, then great. But I like having the possibility that I could collaborate with someone else. And what I learned was that if I indulged all my little tendencies, then by the time it got to someone else, they would not have a lot to work with.
Right.
And
leave a little room.
Yeah,
leave a little more meat on the bone.
Lesson for anyone who wants to work at home and work with other people, for sure.
Yeah, no, it worked out awesome. And yeah, it's funny because I do this often, and it happened with you on this record of I was talking about this in a stream earlier with this guy, Sam Hall, we had on, you would send me a demo or we talk about the songs. Okay, these are the ones we're going to work on, and I would get some tracks and then maybe an MP3 of an old bounce or an old rough mix of something you had. And the tracks were just maybe a couple guitars, vocal, just a few things. And then the bounce would have a keyboard and a drum machine. And I'd be like, well, where's all that shit? And you're like, oh, well, that was just demo, whatever. I'm like, no. I want all of it. You never know, you know.
Yep.
And often, almost every time, at least something would make it all the way through. Like, and I do that every time. Like that happens often with people. Like they hold back a bunch of stuff that they felt like was just placeholder or just demo and blah blah blah. And maybe it was, but I like to have a bunch of toys to play with right away and decide which ones to toss away. You know. And often, you know, something that you thought was placeholder or someone else thought was placeholder, I might think the melody's cool, but if I put this plug in and that plug in and fuck it all up and whatever, and then all of a sudden this little demo keyboard becomes this awesome thing. Like, so I'm always like, send me everything. Like, don't be embarrassed. You put it there for a reason at some point.
Happily surprised at all the shit you kept from the demos, because I love those little sounds, you know, but I never know what anyone else is going to think of them outside of me. And so I love that you wanted me to send you that shit. And I love that, that there's little elements of it. There's just something nice about these elements from me alone in my room, which is my favorite kind of way to exist, like with music, ended up on this record that's this very outward facing kind of big hi-fi record. And I dig that.
Yeah, right. Funny how it works, right? To go back down to that voice memo and then to hear the bombastic Dave and Bob and me and the 808 and the explosion and the bass guitar with the stereo other bass guitars and the, I don't know, roughly maybe 18 guitar faders or whatever it might be. It turned into a lot quick, but that's what happens when I get involved. I guess I get a little, I get a little weird. It's funny though. I put all that stuff on there to make it sound like not that much stuff on there or something, if that makes sense. I try to really weave it together. And I was soloing up stuff today just to refamiliarize, and I was like, I bet there's still stuff in here that Jonah doesn't know is in here.
Oh, there's tons. Yeah, I mean,
right.
I'm psyched for it. Let's pick out some solo shit because I want to hear this stuff, because truly, you and I were so focused on the songs, and I just trusted you so much that I didn't even need to hear what was happening. I just knew that it sounded good. But then when you would play me, when we'd kind of doing little sessions and kind of going through songs when we were working on them, I was always surprised at like, oh, that's happening. Right. So yeah, I'm psyched to check this out. So
right, yeah. So we, for those watching, we did use some audio movers, and we did a bunch of mix sessions and notes like that. That thing was brilliant for us and worked really well. And we did do some soloing, and you were able to get a little real-time look into what the hell was going on with some of these guitar layers that I'm currently scrolling through, which there's just tons and tons of. But that was awesome. So big shout out to that program. I think a lot of people got hip to that this year, and I think
that changed everything.
Yeah, I think it really helped people make records this year, which was super helpful for us for sure. So let's see here. I'm gonna just put everything into waveform, get out of my way. We go down to the masters. I'm gonna turn the vocals off for a minute and just go into like instrumental mode.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about. Let's see, what's the first kind of interesting-ish thing would be, like I was saying. So in the outro, I'm going to turn the guitars off to you, actually. In the outro, Bob keeps playing bass, and then I threw another pair of basses out, like kind of left and right. Not hard left and right, but let's see here. Where am I in the session? So much good stuff. Right, so here's Bob's bass track, this guy here. And then there's these two guys underneath, disto bass 1 and 2, which is me putting even more bass in there. Let me just solo those guys up. So these guys come in for like what I'm calling the alt chorus on the outro, basically. And we solo these real quick. Let me unsolo that so I can hear Jonah again. Yeah, so that's like Bob and the distortion basses. Kind of funny. Stereo extra pair. I think that's a bass and not a baritone. It says that it's distortion bass. Sounds like it. Kind of fun. Bunch of frozen plugins. I froze a bunch of tracks on this to hopefully avoid any crashing.
That shit was monstrous, man.
Oh, I suppose you just got to hear it, right? There's lag. I got to remember there's lag. Yeah, right. There's some heavy distortion basses hanging out back there. Kind of fun.
Yeah, no. Yeah, no, I could hear it, but I was someone had
Oh, I
posted
got
something
you.
really sweet in the chat.
Right on. Cool.
No, it
Oh, good. You're
sounds
watching it.
I didn't know that there was all that going on in those in the distorto bass. Actually, see, we did get kind of crunchy on this tune.
Oh yeah, yeah. I got a pretty dirty sound on old Bob Lindsay, old Dirty Bobby. Brad laughed. And then I got the pair of distortion basses on the end. That's cool. Let's see. There's these guitars swell in. We'll just go right. I'm gonna just go right down the line and kind of
Let's do it.
See what's happening. These three are obviously all a pair. They swell in at the beginning. They play right through the verses. I believe that these are kind of an arpeggiated, chimey JT-ism. Just going to solo them all up together, take a look at what they are, and then I'll unsolo them so we can hear them in context. Right, little chimies, little Jim Atkins. Always think of Jim Atkins anytime I'm like playing arpeggiated stuff. Just think of Clarity.
Absolutely.
I just think of Clarity. Just kind of grew up on that record, man, in a big way. That thing was a big record.
Yeah, it really just did a lot of things right at that time, and it kind of, I think, showed a lot of bands how to do it.
Oh, dude, yeah, right. In so many ways, I've talked about it before, but like as a dude who wants to continue to make records as I get older, like obviously I've always loved Jimmy as a band, but that record also, as an engineer and as a record maker, and watching Mark Trombino jump from Clarity or from Static with them to Clarity, and just hearing it was just like a marriage of so many things. Like it was all the indie rock credibility, but finally sounded like just as big and professional as any other record I had heard, or just it was full on production on a band like us, or for lack of a better way to put it, or something. And I just thought it sounded incredible. It still sounds incredible. They did it. They got a big pile of money, and Jim was smart enough to know that he was going to make the record he truly wanted to make, whether it had any success or not. And it's still like people still sense that true heart in that record, and that's why they love it so much.
Yeah, I think that's right. That's right. We talked a lot about Jimmy Eat World making this record just because, Jim, he's kind of like, that's one of his main gifts, is like he's got, like a lot of me, like the songwriter thing, and then he's also got those like producer chops, and like knows how to really put a bigger thing together, which is something that I need you for. So God bless Jim and his one man amazingness.
Totally, yeah, he's a monster, and he's a great guitar player.
He's incredible,
and a great singer, and just he's great, and hence why he's enjoyed pretty great career, because he's great. He deserves every ounce of it, man, and he works his ass off. All those guys are awesome. I can never say a bad word about that band.
I'm so psyched for that Zach got on this record. Me
too.
I've dreamt about doing whole records with that band. I've literally written to Jim and Zach like, hey, we should just do a record where you guys play my songs.
Yeah, and, right. They're like, that sounds like a cool idea for you. Right.
I know.
Right. Oh, man. I love it. No, that was so awesome, though, right? We had a tune and we reached out to Zach and asked if he was interested, and he was all over it, and came up with awesome ideas and did a little demo, and then went back and forth, and then did it at his house, and awesome sounds, awesome performance, did it quick, just awesome. And he's one of my favorite drummers in an awesome band, and I'm just super thankful that he was into it.
If people aren't bored stiff, and Joe, if you're down, I really, that song in particular, it's called What I Know, just because it's got such a story behind it. And I know we're talking about a different song now, but I just want to preview the song with Jim, with Zach from Jimmy Eat World on there.
Well, we could do that. Yeah, that might
is
be a cool way to
also
close
one
the
that,
show, right?
you know,
'cause
that Norman wrote with me like 20 years ago, and that when you were first playing in the band, and it kind of goes all the way back. So that one really ties the room together.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe we'll figure out a way to like play a little bit of that as we close this thing out. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I should have pre-prepped that on my end, but we'll figure it out. There's a way to do it.
No. It'll be for another time.
Oh, yeah, true.
I wanna
Yeah,
break
yeah.
that shit all the way down.
Yeah, right on. No, this is perfect because, yeah, we got like 20 minutes left to go. We just kind of run through the rest of these tracks or whatever, and that'll be awesome.
Go for it, man. Yeah.
So, yeah, and then what else we got here? We just got what looks like some guitars that I just soaked in reverb and just kind of became like, I'm going to guess, kind of Eno-y stuff going on. The soup, we call it the soup often.
Soup.
Yeah, they swell in, they stay in the verses. This one is just for the beginning. This one seems to just kind of come and go in the verses, and in the end, we'll solo them up, and then I'll drop them back into context once again. Right. Basically a keyboard pad, but guitar soaked in reverb, tons of delay, hanging out. Probably.
Yeah, like I never knew when you sent me those stems, your guitar and keys stems.
Right.
It was so interesting to me that I could hardly tell the difference on some of those ambient vibes.
Sure.
As to what was a key pad and what was guitar pad. So that's neat.
I would say that I don't remember specifically, but dollars to donuts, if you will. What we just heard is probably just these guitars back through tons of reverb. I bet you it's just this same part printed with a bunch of reverb plugins that I like, which is the guitars I showed first, these guys.
Yep.
That's just those again, but like little plate, already committed with a bunch of stuff, and then even more of this little plate reverb. Just creating a bunch of, ambient, fun guy stuff, floating around. Floaty.
Rad.
We wanted a lot of floaties. Let's see.
Floaties.
Our guitar 1 and 2 are going to be exactly what you would think. That's going to be my main left and right rhythm guitar for choruses. Tried to go for kind of Fender-y, not as chunky and 2000s-y sounding as maybe once I was going for that sound with Gratitude because it was the early 2000s. This is a little more informed, trying to split the difference. But I was using a lot of like the Jazz Master, and probably a 335 and a Jazz Master. I'll just solo these up real quick too. Rhythm guitars left and right. Just kind of dry, scratchy, Fendery, cool, rattly. Let's see, going right down the line. These are also verse guitars. Let's see what these were doing. Let's see, solo these two up. Right, so those are trolling away in both verses. Kind of low E and A string. Chorus chime guitars pair. I think that this is more Fender-y guitars. I think this is me playing the vocal melody with kind of some drone strings hanging out. Let's check these out. Pretty much playing the vocal melody. I remember that.
Awesome.
Oh yeah,
Love
these are my favorites. I forgot I did these. I don't know if you've ever heard these or not. These should have got turned up in the mix because they're cool. Yeah, right. I should have hired someone to mix this thing. I don't know who mixed this record. They blew it. I don't know when.
Hey, John Fields, if you're listening.
Yeah, right. Hey, yeah, right. When you were listening, right. If you're still pandemiced up, dude, I'll send this right over. The 5-minute whip up. Yeah, I don't even remember really doing these, but check these guys out. These are also in the chorus. I'll drop them in context. These are just another Manic Monday guitars, dude.
Love it. More prints.
It's the best way I could put it. Right. Check out these guitars in the chorus. I'm solo them up first. I was hoping that was Fields. It's not.
Yeah, that's fucking rad. I have no idea. I had no idea that those were there. And that, ironically, those remind me of the feel of the demo that did not go anywhere that I sent to you. It's a little more, kind of dry and kind of like post-punk. And I just want to take that loop and make a whole new song.
Yeah, right. You get angry with that, right? You get post-punk. So what these were too. These are tucked in there. Like I said, I should have turned them up because I like them.
Yeah, they're good.
But we were talking often, and even through as we made our way through what was going to be our final version about tempo, and you being concerned that maybe this thing was slow. So I was looking for extra anything to like motivate our current tempo. So adding that little that little bouncy guy to me like helped move that chorus and felt like it gained us a beat per minute or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I actually they don't like sound like necessarily angry per se, but I like how single-minded the notes are. To me, it actually reminds me of a great bass hook, but played on a guitar.
Oh, sure. Yeah, well, I'm in bass mode in my brain right now, so that totally would make sense, right?
Right. It's a great hook, and I did, in a way, I wish it would have been turned up, but honestly, wherever it is, it's perfect because it does push the song. But I think it's such a cool counterpoint that if it had been louder, it might have fucked up the vibe.
Right. I mean, obviously they were perfectly placed. I know the guy who put them there.
No, for real though. It's a sick hook, but I just want to do. Let's make a new song for that. Send me that stem, and you'll have a song back in no time.
Right, I love it. Like so, yeah, just for fun and for people watching. Like I'm going to kill the main rhythm guitars and just leave the jangles and that counterpoint.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, do that
with the bass and everything else, and it would go like this. You know, a big wall distortion just kind of murks those up, but that's the game. You want what distortion? That's what you get.
But that does push the song. It's really neat to hear. That's cool.
Yeah, they're in there. What is this little thing? Chorus lift guitar. We skipped over him. Chorus 2, he comes in. Looks like he plays somewhere else right before that too, but let's just solo him up, see what he does. Keep going down the line. So that's just literally more rhythm. I just wanted some more chords at some point. This is your original acoustic guitar. Stayed in the whole way.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And he is just playing in, looks like he's really in the whole song. I'm sure there's some volume automation on him, but like in the choruses, soloed up here. Staying in there for texture, but he's definitely in there. Lean to the left.
In the right spot.
What's that?
Michael Bland says they're in the right spot.
Ooh, Michael Bland says they're in the right spot. Those guitars are in the right spot. Well, there you go. Confirmation.
That's all we need to know.
Yeah. Confirmed. Nailed it. Right. Subtle, man. Got to keep them guessing. Looks like, so that was, acoustics in there. Lean into the left. Your original acoustic stayed pretty much the whole way. I cut them out of a couple of, I didn't really. I just probably cleaned up stops and stuff. Just kind of cleaned up the track, but it looks like he stayed in there. Your original electric stayed for the very bit of verse 1 and then was kind of one of the main extra textures in the outro. So I'll just solo him, but that stayed from the original demo. I'll solo him in the end here and then drop him into context. Again, we got the vocal master off right now. We're just hearing the music. Yeah, just your original Jonah style rakes, you know.
Yeah, my rakes, exactly. That's
But
yeah.
that
My
reminds
guitar
me,
playing is
right.
as percussive as it is anything
Yeah.
else.
That's funny that, I mean, you know, again, I think this is a good reason, or as good of reason as any, why I should make or should have made this record with you. Is like, I've played a bunch of shows with you. I've seen you play a bunch of shows.
Yep.
I know that that's your sound. Like, I can see you doing your thing and singing quietly with a room that's quiet, and that's how you'd be playing guitar right then, you know. So
Yep.
that had to be
Yep.
in there, and it's from the original. So yeah, he didn't stay much. Like I said, he's in the very first verse. He's back at the end. I ended up killing him for the rest because for some reason I didn't feel like I needed him after my 19 guitar failures. Didn't seem like he just necessarily needed, but yeah, he was crucial for the in and the out, and he stayed in there, and you know, so that's cool. All the way from the demo. Low Strings, which is part of the Soup again. I don't know if this was me or you. I'll solo it and find out. Kind of marking the root in the intro. I think that might have been me. It might have been me on the keyboard.
Yeah, it was you.
Got it. So then there's this mid string, which plays in what is kind of like the pre-chorus area. Solo him and drop him in. Kind of like a cello thing, mimicking that piano.
Rad.
Just a little extra float, more Soup. This one's called Pad. I think this one came from you. Not sure,
Okay.
but we're going to find
All
out.
right.
I think it's just kind of that. Let me check over here.
I think that's you, man.
What's that? Sorry,
I think that's you.
Let me check again. That does kind of sound like one of my keyboard patches. Let me check out here. Yeah, I think that is. I think all these.
Yeah, I think that's like a better sound than I'm capable of.
Yep. I think that's my little Roland. I got one little Roland keyboard here. That does sound like a go-to. I don't have a Roland Juno. Someday I'm going to end up with a Roland Juno. They've become ridiculously valuable now that there's things like reverb. That's like the thing I grew up with, and every time I get out the Roland I do have, I'm just like trying to figure out how to make it sound like an old Juno. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, right. Now I have some Arturia stuff. I got to try that out. Here's another one I did, just called Synth. Let's see what it sounds like. No, not true. Didn't do this. This came from you, and this is like a committed thing. I believe this is like original demo, just swirly stuff, and some. You'll hear it. I think this is all from you. I'm just going to play from chorus 1. It plays before chorus 1, but I think this is stuff you sent. That's all from the demo, right?
Yeah, that is me, and it's cool that I forgot about that. But that's full circle. That's just me plunking out the vocal melody on the original demo, like before I even laid my vocal down. So that's cool that made it into the final. Yeah,
right. I mean, yeah, that's still playing along in the choruses, and then there is that track is playing like through the verses. It seems like it's just kind of doing some ambient stuff. I'll solo up. Here's verse 2 soloed. I got it real low in there, but yeah, just some Soup.
Yeah,
just some Soup in there. I heard a guitar in there that got overlooked that we got to go back for because he's fun. Where were we? Verse 2. Oh yeah, verse 2 Edge. It's called. I wonder why it's called the Edge. Skipped over him, but we got to listen to him. I'll solo it and then I'll drop it in. Verse 2. With a shit ton of delay on it, Echo Boy and stuff too. But yeah, man, Edge, you know, 2 notes, tons of delay, just hanging out.
That's beautiful, man. It's like a guitar meets a tambourine.
I've figured out. I mean, it's just yeah, right. Totally, dude. It's funny that you say that. I do. I use the guitar again, like percussion, and back to that thing. We wanted things to motivate the tempo, keep it moving.
Yep.
So what
Yep.
you know, what's going to help more than something going diggy 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 diggy? You know, just
Yep, that's great. Sounds awesome.
I use it as percussion. I use it as utility, and I also like. For better or for worse, I kind of, for me personally, think for better because I just don't enjoy super noodly guitar players. I never got good enough to be a super noodly guitar player, so I use it like a utility. You know, I need this. I need something that's going to work at this tempo. Right? I could have a tambourine or a guitar or both.
Yep.
We ended up backtracking the guitars, and I'm remembering like, right, there's this whole outro. There's a couple other things like the pair of big muffs that happens on the outro. We can't get through an episode without soloing those.
Yep.
All right, so we got to do.
So at some point, I think you guys should devote some time to the distinction between a big muff distortion person and a rat distortion person.
Ooh.
Because those are big muff guitars, and I grew up on a rat. I mean, as well as an Ibanez distortion pedal and some of the other ones, but the rat was my first real blown out distortion love.
Yep.
And I was like, I can appreciate a big muff. And I think the big muff was a better choice for this tune. And I'm a rat guy ultimately. So there you go.
You know what, dude? I actually grew up more with a rat for sure, and a big muff later.
Oh, cool.
I don't have a good rat pedal right now. I'd like to have one. I have the green one. I've got the big muff. I should have a rat. I loved my like main thing when I was whatever. Probably right before I met you was like a Telly with a rat and an AC30, and it was an older rat. It sounded awesome. It sounded absolutely awesome. Yep.
Perfect.
I just have a big muff now, and I really like tucking that under an outro. Like, so you take those two, you take those two big muffs, you couple them back up with those two distorted basses that I put in there. We're going to solo it all up together here. And because those are, even though they're miles apart, they're actually kind of made to be complementary. And then you get this wall at the end. Right. There's like weird movement and stuff in there. I forget about all that stuff.
Man.
Right. Chunky stuff. Right. So there's them. Right. And then let's see. I know I went to keyboards already, but I did miss a couple of guitars. There's the verses. Oh, right. I don't have a way to reference this within the session right now, but going back to my dad, and we were talking about how I often reference his band and his music for keyboard parts. This is a guitar part that I put on the end. It's literally just in the last thing. It's one last extra high guitar, super tucked in the mix.
Oh, yeah.
It's called Out Lead. It is literally, so like, they put out their first record in 1980 something. I was super young. I don't remember exactly what year. But they had a song called the record was called Every Corner Dance. They had a song called Will You Remember Me? It's on YouTube. It was kind of like their first popular song, or like it was their first thing where like the fans wanted to hear that song. They probably saved it for the encore. Their first probably big song as a band or whatever. And oddly enough, and this had nothing to do with the story that I told Jonah about my dad's band and the keyboard lines or any of that stuff, I just often hide little melodies like that in records that I produce, kind of for my own entertainment, if for no other reason, and often because they fit, you know.
Yeah.
And to me, again, like I really, you know, when you're a kid my age who ends up being a lifetime musician anyway, and your dad's in a band, and that's why, like, believe me when I tell you I listened to those records as many times as you could listen to a record, like, so I know these records. Anyway, this is
I love that.
this is me playing the melody of their hit on guitar. It was a keyboard melody in their song, and I wish I had it just here quickly to grab, but it was the hook of the song, and I snuck it in underneath low. I'll solo it and I'll drop it in. So if you look
That's
up that,
raw. I love that so
right,
much.
and then I'll drop it in. That's the last chorus. I'll drop it in again. No vocals, but you hear it in context. Anyway, yep. Spooner, Will You Remember Me? Completely ripped from that tune.
I'm so happy to know that. That
Yep.
rules. And it's just a reminder that it's kind of like, it's just all one song. This whole rock thing, it's just one tune.
There's only so many notes. Yep. And someone got to them before you, whether you like it or not, right?
Yep.
And me and everyone else, and that's all right. But yeah, no, I love doing that. It's like, I forget who it is. There's like a certain producer that sneaks a triangle hit in on every record he does. I think it's this guy, Joe Barresi. I'm sure you've heard records he's done.
That's cool.
Queens of the Stone Age records and stuff. People just have their little things. And it's not even a thing of mine. I don't consciously do it. I just, that, again, like, the records we grew up on are our encyclopedia set sometimes. And when we go to the cabinet for an idea, like, I go back to my dad's band's records and constantly sneak those melodies in, just because it's in my brain, it's in my toolkit, it's imprinted on me like nothing else.
That's right. That's right.
I just threw that Spooner video in the chat too.
Oh, Spooner video's up in the chat, right, dude? I'm telling you, I mean, listen to the keyboard melody. It's exactly the one you just heard on guitar. I don't know if the keys are the same or not. Might be. But yeah, so now we're basically through guitars. We got a couple of pianos here. I believe one of these could be original demo piano, and then the others are Simon. Let's start with piano number 1. Looks like it's in the first, kind of the second half of the first verse. I'll solo it up quick. And that might be Simon, not you, right? I don't remember.
That's Simon,
now.
yep.
Yep. So that, yeah, right. Nice patch. I got it frozen, but I've got a bunch of plugins on here. If anyone wants to know about any of that stuff, they can stop me and ask. Otherwise, I'll just keep on keeping on. But feel free to ask if you can't tell, because, yeah, I froze a bunch of tracks just to hopefully not have the stream crashing on us. Piano number 2, more Simon. The first one was kind of the utility stuff, him playing the main chords. He kept that simple, so I have that on my one track. This is him playing just a couple bits on the in and out that I kept on its own track. Here it is in the first verse. Right. More utility stuff. I might have actually split these onto 2 different tracks because I wanted to treat them differently. Looks like it plays again on the very outro when Jonah's singing the outro here. I'll solo that. Same thing, utility. And then we've got one more track down here, and this is him actually being him. So the first 2 are, yeah, like I said, more for utility piano parts. This has a lot more character, and it's just more main piano. Here it is, kind of when it gets a little more busy, second half of verse 1, soloing. I mean, awesome, awesome little extra.
Yeah, and that stuff, yeah, the way he played ended up pushing the track real nicely too, with that
Right.
phrase that he's
Right.
doing.
Right. It
And
bounced
that's
against
one
the
that,
four on the
yeah,
floor.
so I had basic ass piano on the tune at first just as a pad. And even the beginning and the ending, I really wanted it to just be a better player playing it with a better sound, even though it is pretty close to this exact same performance on the simple stuff.
Sure.
It's just so nice hearing an actual piano player play it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, some of that motion in the verse is super cool. And then
That stuff is a whole other level. Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Right. And then choruses, same thing. This is more of him actually playing, not the utility stuff. A solo up him in a chorus. Super cool.
Yeah, I mean,
super cool. Unfortunately, pianos get swallowed in rock songs because distortion guitars just swallow everything. But it is in there and it carries the track. Super, super cool, you know.
Well, and it's cool, like that verse part you played. That's another thing I love about his phrase is that he has those hits that aren't on. It's basically like, you know, the two or the four, which is where you're never going to hear a piano in a rock song.
Right.
But having those little grace things is where the kind of piano pops out a little bit. And also, it never even got to the track, but I will say that Simon did some really beautiful piano intro stuff where the synth pad is.
Totally.
That makes, in a really cool way, makes it sound a little bit more like a Dire Straits song or Bruce Springsteen song, where there's kind of like this tinkly, beautiful piano at the beginning. And it was one of those kind of things of like, again, it could be a whole different song, whole different mix of the song. It didn't work in the context of what you had already done, Jer. But
right.
It was pretty great.
Yeah, I mean, we were definitely lucky to have often on this record in a bunch of these songs, right? A lot of stuff from a few contributors who gave us a lot, and it's like it's all awesome, but just because it's all awesome doesn't mean you you can or you have to keep it all, or does it all stay awesome if it's all together? You know, like
right,
not
exactly.
always.
That's it. Yeah.
Not always. Yeah, so that's the pianos, that's the keys. I think it's worth doing because it sounds really cool. Here's like a little bit of chorus to just keys, just the pianos and the synths and the extra things.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do a little pre-chorus into the last chorus just so we can hear all that stuff and how that added up.
Yeah.
Let me see here. Pretty cool.
Nice.
Super cool.
Very, very nice.
Yeah, man. All right. So we are almost through this thing, and it's a little after 10 here, so we'll wrap it up pretty quick.
Yep.
But, we can't neglect percussion. We did skip over it, but we're going to just check it out quick. Angel's Tambo Loop. I think I kept this from your original demo. I'm going to solo it up. Pretty sure that came from you, and I liked it. I chopped it up and kept using it.
Sounds right.
I played a shaker. Sounds like this. Shaker and Tambo together, killing it,
Secret weapons.
I played a live Tambo under your loop, it looks like. Here it is. That's my little toy Tambo. And then I got some stereo claps here. Oh, yeah. And all together, hello. Pro Tools freaking out. All together, the percussion sounds like a this. There you go.
So cool.
Drums and percussion.
All together, it sounds like a song.
Right. And then last but not least, after all that stuff, you got your vocals, which
Oh shit.
which would go pretty quick, really. Lead vocal, a little bit of a double in the choruses, not a whole lot of extra stuff going on there. We will check out the lead vocal, just solo it quickly. We're not going to put anyone on Front Street. We don't need to, but Jonah sings great, so even if we needed to, he wouldn't be scared. We did use, like we were saying, we used the demo vocal for the first couple lines was just the keeper, so we kept it. We brought it back, and then the new vocal picks up after that. I'm just going to solo a little bit of vocal, maybe from like chorus 1, so you can hear what all the effects and sauce and stuff was on that. And then again, if anyone has any questions, let me know. Otherwise, we'll just keep moving.
One of the amazing things I want to say is that when I listen to the tracks, I don't hear a lot of stuff on them, but whenever you'd send me soloed vocals, I'd be so amazed at how much sauce you got on there, but tastefully, it's very impressive to me. So, yeah.
Yeah, I try to do, a lot, but make it seem like I did a little. It's like I somehow...
Right.
I was joking with myself today, as I do sometimes when I'm just like going insane by myself, that often making these records is kind of like the whole bonsai tree thing. And it's like, it's not necessarily what you cut versus what you leave behind. And I don't know, it's like, sometimes you do a lot of trimming to make it look like you didn't have any trimming tools. And that's
I love that.
That's the way that the tree's supposed to be, even though you spent all day bathing this thing in the reverb, so it sounds like it's essentially dry when it's in the song. It's like, how can you have that
Miyagi approves.
Right. How can you have that much shit on there, but then in the track it doesn't sound like it? And yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. But yeah, so chorus vocal, soloed up real quick. Here we go.
Angels were everyday angels. I am yours and you are mine. Always falling.
But yeah.
Love it.
Rocking.
Love it.
Great vocal. Lots of stuff. Slap, echo, a long plate, a vocal delay, which I'll just do the quick rundown for people. Looks like looks like it was kind of a long delay on that one. There's a vocal room sound. There's a little bit of pitch spreading, and then this H delay is for some real long throw stuff that happens once in a while. And that's kind of all on the lead vocal. And then, yeah, like I said, there's just a double that happens in the chorus, very similar to the lead vocal, similarly treated, just adding more to the chorus. And then there is this pair of backgrounds here, which just pops in for a couple lines in the chorus. Looks like it's just doing literally a couple of supplemental things in the choruses. We'll just solo him up real quick. These are a pair.
Angels. Yours and
Right. Just some high vocals that I kept from somewhere and put a bunch of delay and echo and stuff on and flew them in there.
I started just sending you a bunch of shit after a while. I would just send you like all these weird harmony ideas, and then you would take what you needed. Yeah.
Right. Stack them up accordingly. So that's kind of the lead vocal stuff. And then there's one last kind of, I would say, quad of tracks here that are all background vocals that all get bussed together to this bus right here. And they sound like this.
angels were everyday angels. Yours and you are mine.
That's rad.
Super cool. And then last but not least, real quick, chorus, all the vocals together.
Angels, we're everyday angels. I am yours and you are mine. Always falling, always flying, always angels all the time.
Love it.
Nice, man. Yeah.
Very sweet. Thanks for letting me in on this, y'all. This was super, super fun. Anytime you want to chop up a weird song of mine, I'm in.
Yeah, man. I think, so we were saying earlier, and for those who are watching, and again, this thing lives on YouTube, so it'll be around for those who want to watch later. But yeah, if you weren't with us earlier, Jonah has a new record that I worked on, and it is, what's that? Get this mic out of my face? Sorry. Sorry, just kind of chilling here. Joe's like, dude, what are you doing?
Just Lemmy.
Right. I do feel like Lemmy sometimes. But yeah, this is one of 3 that just came out. The record's coming out in chunks over the next couple months. The first 3 are out. If people want to check you out, and not to be this guy, but let's be this guy, where can people find you? Where can they find the new record? Tell us a little bit about that stuff before we say goodbye tonight.
JonahMatranga.com. And even if you don't know how to spell that weird ass name, if you just do your best with and add the word music, you will find me. And yeah, the record's gonna be called Songs with a P, a silent P at the beginning. Long story behind that. Not gonna get into it. Everyday Angels and Hell of the Year and You're a Home are the first few tunes off it. Jeremy did an insane job on it. Thank you publicly, Jer. And yeah, I don't know. I'm in love with it. I actually listened to it for the first time today to kind of get ready for this, and I love it more and more every time we do it. So thank you.
Oh man, yeah, my pleasure, and yeah, such a pleasure to work on a record that I'm really excited about. And not that, I'm lucky that I get to do that often, but not as often as I would like. And this one is really great. And you wrote a pile of great songs, and we were able to whittle it down to still a huge pile of songs. So I think, you did a great job. We did a great job. Everyone that contributed did an unbelievable job. I don't know. I'm super proud of it, and I think it's a new benchmark for me and you going into 2021 for sure. So
I don't know if you've read Norman's little essay on it, but
I haven't.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I think it's in some folder. Anyway, I'll get to y'all.
Okay.
But if you think about it, even just between me and you and Norman, the sort of 3 main music principal people, like personalities in the record, there's just about 100 years of friendship between the 3 of us. So there's a lot of good, good feeling in this record for me.
Yeah, right on, man. Well, yeah, I had a blast working on it. I can't wait for people to hear it. Please find it and check out the rest of Jonah's music. Yep. He's got literally hundreds of great songs at this point. It's probably not an exaggeration, dude.
No, a lot of tunes.
All right, that's what happens when you stay at it. But yeah. Thanks for coming
Brad,
on, man.
We'll be talking soon about art.
Yep.
Joe, I look forward to meeting you, man. I want to nerd out with you more, and thank you so much for helping this happen.
Thank you, everybody.
And I think we got to shout out Norman too, who actually, huge part in this record, but couldn't be with us tonight because he's playing guitar for Thursday.
Oh, right, Brad.
During our live stream tonight. And I peeked at the set list while we were here, and I'm excited to go home and watch it because they covered a Texas song.
Oh, sick. I did not know that.
Not just a Texas song, but my favorite Texas song in the world.
Okay, sick. Yeah, and any reason that Norman got a guitar back around his neck and back out on stage is good for me, and I hope that we can continue to keep him playing that guitar coming into this next year here. We'll see what happens with that, but that's awesome, right? Go watch that. Go watch Thursday. Yeah. Go support them. Go support our friend Norman, who definitely steered the ship often when we needed a nap.
Yeah.
When we needed a shift off, he came in and said, "No problem, I got it. And while I'm here, I'm going to change a few things too." And he nailed it, as he always does. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on. And yeah, maybe we'll do another song in the future when the next chunk comes out. Or there's a lot to talk about. We did a lot of work on this record, and as me and Brad and Joe keep doing this stream, we want to talk about the good work we're doing, and this is definitely a crown example of the good work we're doing right now. So,
well, one of my dreams, I'll just say, with making this record with you was not only that you would help my tunes sound as good as they could and help them, get out into the world, but I really wanted and want this album to be a calling card for you, so people can be like, oh shit, Jeremy can make serious albums.
Right.
And so I hope that it feels that way for you, because I'm so proud of it, and I hope you are too, man.
For sure, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, we will talk soon, as
all right.
I'm sure we'll find a reason to, as this record makes its way out into the world. So thanks again, Brad. Anything?
Just stream it.
Stream it.
Yeah, baby. Put it on repeat. Put it on loop.
All right, Jonah. Thanks, man.
All right, later, Al.
Yep. Thanks to our buddy Jonah. That was fun. That was different. We're going to try to keep these episodes fresh, different things. Why be mixing when we could talk to the songwriter, talk through the process, instead of just mixing it, show you one that's finished and how it got there. And I hope it was interesting for y'all and for Joe and Brad, who, I hope it's interesting for them. They drive over here through snowstorms to do this. So. But yeah, I think that was fun. And yeah, we worked hard on the Jonah record. Please do check it out. It's awesome. I'm stoked I got to do a bunch of work on the thing as far as mixing, production. Kind of was the musical director, played drums on quite a few, played bass on almost all, played guitar, played keys, played harmonica, played percussion. I don't know. You name it. I tried it. Jonah let me try it. And I think it came out really great. So I hope you enjoyed hearing about Everyday Angels by Jonah Matranga. I'm glad to be back with you on a Tuesday. Not sure what next Tuesday is just yet. We got some options. If not, we do need to get back to work on the Sam Hall song. So,
one of the options.
Right. If not, if that's not our next track Saturday, it might be our Tuesday. Mm-hmm. We'll see. We'll keep you guessing for next Tuesday, but I appreciate you guys hanging with us. We went a little over tonight because the episode was good, and that's how we do it, man. Yeah. No rules around here. There's no rules at the Noise Below, other than there's only really one rule, and I think you know what that is.
Oh, I know what that is. Why don't you tell us what that is?
Rule 1, son, keep it tight.